Hello there, I'm Nathalia Melo, your unfiltered fit BFF. Mom of two turned CEO of a fitness empire. Someone who truly understands the struggles of trying to stay fit, sane, and sexy, all while juggling work, life, and motherhood. And this is the Unfiltered Fit Life podcast. Follow along wherever you're listening and join me weekly as I help busy working moms just like you simplify your fitness journey so you can lose fat, regain your confidence, and feel sexy AF. It's time to stop living in the what ifs and hiding from the cameras. It's time to regain control over your body, feel sexy naked, and wear a bikini confidently. People already see you as a super confident woman, but it's time for you to feel the same way too. Come on, let's go. Hello there, fam. Welcome to another episode of the Unfiltered Fit Life podcast. I'm Nathalia Melo, your host, and I'm going to start today's episode with a question. Have you ever wondered or asked yourself or, told yourself that the reason why you have not been able to accomplish your fitness goals is because you cannot stay consistent? Oh, I know what to do. I know exactly what I need to do. This is what I need to do because it worked before. I just can't stay consistent with it. But what if the problem is not that you need to beat yourself into consistency, but it is something else? And listen, I'm not saying that not having consistency is going to get you results. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that perhaps we are looking at the problem from a different perspective and a different angle. We're trying to solve the symptom rather than look at the root cause of the problem. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. But before we get started, I want to give a huge shout out to Sechelt. I think that's how I pronounce her name. She sent me a fan mail and I loved what she said. She wrote, "Loved this. My coach recommended her clients listen to you. Holler to the coach, whoever that is. Thank you so much for, sending your clients educational content and that you find my content helpful. Appreciate that." Hits home for sure. So many opportunities passed by before from lack of confidence. I've been in a program now since March. Awesome changes and more to come. Amazing work, Sechelt. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Thank you so much for the message. And if you want to leave a review, if you want to, send a fan mail, there is the link on the show notes for a fan mail. And also, don't forget to leave that review. That's how you support us. That's how you, tell me and you let other people know about this podcast so that they can get the information and get help as well. So what excited me to talk about this podcast is because I find that the month of August is it's almost like the new January. It's like the ugly brother of January. And I'm going to tell you why. So whenever we look at the holiday season, right? For most people, it starts around Thanksgiving here in the US, which is, mid-November. That's when people start to get hyped up. So you have from mid-November until the end of December. And then in January, new year, new me, everybody's excited. And so in the mind decides, I just have to get through the holidays. I can go off the rails here in the holidays, but January, new year, new me. And I find that August is almost like the different version, the ugly cousin of the holiday season, or of January. And I'm going to tell you why. So here in Texas, for example, in a lot of the West Coast and Southern states, kids get out of school rather early, at around May. My kids get off school May. So that's kind of when our summer breaks begin. So we have May, June, and July. And then around August, mid-August through the end of August, kids start to go back to school. And I think in the northern states, we're looking about that first week of September. So in August, they're already kind of like getting back and thinking about the kids getting back to school. So whenever we look at the holiday season, you have 6 weeks at the top 7 weeks that people kind of go off. The holidays, yay, like the drinking and eating. And I got no problem with that.
But what happens is that they try to do the same thing during the summer. But the difference is that the summer is double the length of time from the holiday season. And then people are always waiting for that perfect time, right? If you try to speak to someone like in the beginning of May about making changes, it's like, oh no, because kids are going to be out of school soon. And then in June, it's like, oh no, we have a trip coming up. July, oh no, kids are still off school. And then August is like, oh yeah, well, but kids are getting back to school. So if we look in the context of life, okay, January, yay, yes, I'm in. And in February, people start to fall off the wagon. And then it starts to be, oh, it's cold. Oh, I kind of lost the momentum a little bit. Life is busy. Or maybe it's like the funds, like I spent too much money during Christmas. So that's the first excuse why they cannot make change. And then we have March. Oh, because spring break's coming up and I have a trip coming up. Right. And then April. Oh, because life is busy right now. Yeah, like I think I might be able to do something. Then they have April. And then in May, it begins, oh, because summer is coming along and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to stay consistent. And then we have May, June. Oh, I have a vacation coming up. July. Oh, because there is 4th of July and we're busy and the kids have camp and we're going to be traveling. July. And then we have August. Oh, because the kids are getting back to school and it's going to be a bit chaotic, but maybe I can start doing something. Like, let's pencil that in. So August is a maybe. So far, the only months that we don't have a whole lot going on, and it's like 100% is January, right? And then after that, it's kind of like a maybe in April. But people are already thinking about the trips for either spring break, depending where you are, or, for us, I'm already thinking about summer because my kids get off school in May. And in May, June, July, it's all, summer, like the thought of summer. So I can't do anything because summer. Then August, it's like, but it's going to be a bit crazy because the kids are going to be getting back to school and then we're going to have to buy this stuff for them. So August is also a wash. And then September, okay, September, yeah, things are going to be slowing down. Yeah, maybe I can do that instead. So I'm going to wait until September. So that's September, that's the other month. And in October becomes, oh, it's almost the holidays and then we have Halloween. It's going to be a bit difficult. And then from November to December is another wash. And how am I able to tell you this? Because that's what I hear all the time. In fact, it's interesting because I had a conversation with someone. It was in the beginning of June, like end of May, beginning of June. And then she was like, oh yeah, Nathalia, like I have all these trips coming up and like things are crazy. You know what? Like let's schedule to chat in the first week of August because I'll be ready to buckle up. That's what, and I knew that she was full of shit. Okay. I knew she was full of shit because I've heard this a zillion times before. I'm like, cool, let's get you booked. I normally don't book people ahead of time, but I just wanted to show her that there is never going to be a perfect time. And that's why she can stay consistent. This morning, guess what happened? We're on the 24th of July. Next week is the first week of August. Guess what happened? She sent an email saying that, oh, Nathalia, you know what? I'm not really sure. I think I'm going to have to cancel the call because things are still busy. They're still crazy. I'm still doing X, Y, and Z. Do you see the pattern, guys? And that's what triggered me to record this podcast because this particular person is not an outcast. That's how most people operate. And here's the thing. We want the timing to feel easier, but if you keep on waiting for life to slow down, you'll be waiting forever. And we need to talk about why consistency feels so hard and how to make it a whole lot easier. Because I've been a parent for 9 years. Since my kids have been in school, summer breaks have come every year. Back to school has come every year. Since I've been a human being, the holidays, they have been there. They haven't changed. They come every year. We love to travel. So every spring break, we go somewhere. Every summer, we do something. Every holiday season, we do something. So if this is part of my lifestyle, How is it that waiting for these things that are a big piece of how we live our lives, how is it that waiting for these things to pass going to be the solution to my long-term problem? How is it going to be a long-term solution to a long-term problem that I have? It's not. Because if you have to keep on hitting the pause button every single time that things that are expected to happen, you're never going to be able to give yourself enough room to create momentum. And the problem with this is that most women feel that they are inconsistent because they're lazy, because they're unmotivated, or they're undisciplined, or, oh, yeah, no, all I need, Nathalia, is motivation. I don't know what it is. Like, I just need the motivation to stay consistent. But let me offer a different perspective here. What if the inconsistency is coming from an all or nothing loop? And maybe you don't even realize that you do this. But if you are someone, I'm telling you right now, if you are someone that every time their work gets busy, the first thing to go is your fitness routine. Every time that the kids are off school, the first thing to go is your fitness routine. Every time that there is a trip, the first thing to go is your fitness goals and your fitness routine. You are in an all or nothing cycle, period, the end. And this is what is keeping women stuck. Why? Because this is how it works. You're either 100% in, okay, I am going to go to the gym 5 days a week. I'm going to, maybe I can do a 6th day, and then I'm going to eat just chicken breast and broccoli and no carbs. I'm going to drink 100 ounces of water. I'm going to get 15,000 steps a day, and I'm going to sleep 10 hours a night. And then it's all about the things that you're going to do. And then life happens. And then it becomes like, I don't care what I eat. And then you start eating whatever, skipping workouts, telling yourself that you're going to start, Monday again, or whenever things slow down. Why does it have to be this all or nothing? And this constant start and stopping not only kills momentum, it kills confidence that you have within yourself. It makes you feel like you're failing when you're really just trying to follow a plan that is either on or off. If what you're doing does not work for your life, or, it does not have a path that is going to guide you to be in a place that it works for your life. And this is like, I literally had this conversation today with somebody, and I loved how open-minded she was. Because I asked her, I was like, so let's call her Mary. I'm like, Mary, what is important to you in a fitness program, in a fitness plan? In her answer, she's like, well, I want it to be sustainable long-term. But I understand that in the beginning, we might have to go extreme, and we have to go all in, and we have to be very restrictive, and we have to do. And then she started talking about how restrictive she would be willing to go in the beginning. But then after that, then we can totally create a sustainable strategy after that. And then I'm like, hold on a second. We're talking about human behavior. How are you going to be able to get to a place of sustainability if every single time that you get to a goal is an extreme fashion? It's in a way that you can't see yourself doing long term. It's kind of like getting married to someone who from the get-go has red flags and is a piece of shit. How do you expect to have a long-term sustainable? And listen, there are a lot of women out there stepping on red flags left and right. But how do you expect to have a long relationship with someone who from the beginning you could tell that wasn't a long-term thing, that wasn't a sustainable thing? It is the same, like your nutrition in your fitness journey is a relationship that you have with yourself. The moment that you start to look at your fitness routine, in your nutrition, and your fitness goals as a relationship with self, you're going to start to look at it with different eyes, with a different perspective. And whenever what you do is very, not suitable to your reality. I'm going to use an example of a member that we have. Whenever she joined, she travels a lot for work. She had all these trips coming up, And she wanted to wait for, I'm going to wait for after the trips. And I'm like, but how often do you travel for work? She's like, all the time. And I'm like, right. So you wait for this trip and then you start and then you have to pause again because another trip's going to come up. How are you going to be able to be sustainable? She's like, well, because the person that I was working before was telling me that I have to sleep 10 hours a night and that I cannot have this and that I need to eat this and I need to eat that. And so whenever we start working with her, I'm lying. In 4 weeks, she lost 6 pounds. And this was while having 3 trips to Africa. 3 in 4 weeks. And she still managed to lose 6 pounds. And whenever I was speaking with her afterwards, she was like, oh my goodness, I didn't know that, I could get results with training 3 times a week rather than 5 times a week. I had been able to stay consistent because it doesn't consume me. So my point with telling you these stories is that what if the problem is not your lack of discipline? What if your problem is not that you're unmotivated or that, you don't have willpower or whatever story you're telling yourself? What if the problem is that the way that you're trying to do things does not work for the life that you have right now? What if you're trying to fit a routine that worked for you when you were in college or when you were in a different, maybe your career wasn't as demanding. So you had more time to spend in the gym, but now you don't. So how are you going to be able to stay consistent and motivated to a plan that you already know that you cannot follow through with? So what if the problem is not the lack of consistency? Obviously, not being consistent is not going to give you results. But what if that is just the symptom of a plan that doesn't fit in your life? And that's not to say, guys, and you know that I'm here and I'm going to speak the truth. That is not to say that you are going to be able to start doing something else that works for your life and change zero about your life. Zero. Like, oh, I like to go to restaurants 5 days a week. So this plan needs to work around my, 5 days a week, going to a pizza place and going to get spaghetti and have ice cream. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, for example, if you have a demanding career that requires you to travel, it's just part of your life. So how about we work with that? We manage the expectations around that, and we work with that and make something, and you create something that you are able to stay consistent with. What if, it's the summer break and you are going to be, road tripping with your family? Cool. What is the lowest barrier of entry here? How can we make this work so that you don't have to completely stop, because it makes it a lot harder for anybody to get back on it. If you completely stop, like I just got back from a vacation myself. I went on a cruise with my family, and I'm going to be the first one to say, the first 2 or 3 sessions in the gym, awful. And I trained every single day when I was away. Every single day when I was away. And we were walking like 20,000 steps a day. It was ridiculous. And it was still difficult for me to get back on my routine, even though I was still training. So imagine how much harder you're making it for yourself by completely stopping that routine, by completely stopping the things that push you closer to your goal. Because then we add the layer of frustration. Because chances are that if you're not training and you're eating like shit, you're going to end up gaining weight. And then you beat yourself up feeling like, oh my goodness, now I'm even farther away from my goal. And that's how he piles up, and that's how he adds on. And, we need to understand that weekends, summer, the holidays, they are not a roadblock. They just are. The weekends, last I checked, they happen 52 weeks out of the year. They just do. Every time after 5 days after Monday, the weekend comes. 52 times a year. They ain't going nowhere. The holidays, last I checked, every December 25th, it's Christmas. Thanksgiving, every November. Halloween, every October 31st. So how is it that waiting, if you're wanting to be consistent in your wanting to have something that you can make it a part of your lifestyle, you cannot keep on waiting for the thing that is a part of your life to go away, because then you're not preparing yourself for life. You're preparing yourself for isolated delusional reality, a 3D reality. It's kind of like, imagine a pilot, like an airplane pilot. Imagine an airplane pilot that just trains or just prepares for blue skies, no wind, no clouds, just perfect. No, they have to practice for the storms too, because they are a part of the job. Same thing with your fitness journey. So the real issue is not that your consistency, that I just need to work harder. I just need to push harder. I just need to run harder. I just need to eat less. No. What if the problem is that you have never been taught on how to stay consistent when life lives? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I got 2 kids and life be lifing. It just is. There is always somebody with a snotty nose. There is always somebody that has a doctor's appointment or a practice or a game, or, our families are, one family's in Europe, my family's in Brazil. Then we meet somewhere in the middle, and then, you know what I'm saying? There's always going to be something. So here's what you need to do if you want to be able to stay consistent. It's not going to be to beat yourself up into working harder, because it is just going to keep on chirping away on your confidence in yourself. The more you just try to push harder, the more you just try to tell yourself, I just need to eat less, I just have to run more, the more you're going to be chirping away on your confidence in yourself. And you're going to push yourself farther and farther away, maybe not even physically, but emotionally, on the belief in yourself. So I think it is very important to have actionable steps and strategies, and create a low barrier of entry for the seasons of life that are busy. So how about creating a busy day version of your plan? Instead of falling off the wagon, create a minimum baseline version of your plan for when life gets chaotic. And I think that this is where a lot of people get stuck, because they believe that the only way to get, the best results is by training an hour, 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Shit, I've spoken with someone that trained 4.5 hours a day. I'm like, girl, what time do you sleep and do you work? You got kids. Like, when does that happen? So, and here is where I find that a lot of people can use help and support, not only from the practical side of things, but also to step away from that all or nothing mentality, that if the workout's not, 2 hours long, what's the point? So become comfortable and create that baseline version of your plan for when life gets chaotic. A 15-minute workout, a quick protein for breakfast. Create a plan that is simple and is repetitive. Like, I don't know why people think that fat loss and getting in shape is this glamorous, 77 steps kind of thing. It's not. It's boring as shit. And the simpler you can make it, the more, a zillion times more likely you are to stay consistent with it. And that's why also so many people stay stuck and inconsistent with their journey, because they think that their meal plan needs to have, 77 recipes, and that you're going to have to bring, what is it? Martha Stewart to cook the food for you. And you're going to have Betty Crocker, and then you have to have these ingredients from the top of the Himalayan with the blood of the virgin. Stop it. Keep that shit simple. And the simpler you make, the more likely you are to be able to be consistent with it when life lives. So have your go-to, meals that are practical. But I don't like microwave. Well, then you have to choose. Do you like microwave, or do you like being overweight and unhappy with how you look? I'm not saying that you're going to have the microwave packets, the packet rice every single day. But some days it is the health impact of that plastic versus the mental health impact of not making progress and being overweight is much more significant than that exposure to plastic. I promise you. Another thing that you can do is like give yourself a water bowl or give yourself a step goal for the day. Okay, so even on the days that I'm busy, I must get at least 5K steps, for example. Cool. And make it like achievable. Don't make something that is just going to linger in your brain. Another actionable step that you can take is stop using the calendar as an excuse. You stop hiding behind your kids. Stop hiding behind your spouse. If your plan only works when the calendar is clear, when your husband is not working, when your kids are not doing this, when your kids are not sick, when, work is not busy, but you are somewhat like you're a trial attorney, for example. Like it's unpredictable. You might be in trial today, you're not in trial tomorrow. So you need to have the right strategy to fit your life, that it does not require you to pause your life to make it work. They need to coexist. And last but not least, redefine what consistency actually means. And it's interesting because if I were to list out like all the workouts that I have in a year, I can easily say that 75 to 80% of them are mediocre at best. Mediocre. But they keep me in the game. They keep me showing up. They keep the momentum. Like when we were away in the cruise, there was one day that we had an excursion that I only had, 20 minutes to train, 15 minutes. You best believe I put my clothes on, went to the gym, did what I could in 15, 20 minutes, went back already and we left. Do you know what that did for me? It allowed me to show up the next day feeling like I hadn't missed a beat. So you don't have to be perfect every day. You don't have to have the best workout in the world every single day. You just need to keep on showing up. Even if some weeks look different than others. 3 workouts instead of 5, cool, that's still consistent. Walking during your kid's soccer practice because you missed the part of your cardio in your workout, cool, do a few sprints there. I'm a big believer of making sure that you're scheduling your workouts. Also because I've been training for 26 years. Is it 26? Holy shit, hold on a second. I need to do this math because I'm shocked. Oh my God, 27. I've been training for 27 years. And you best believe that my workouts are still on my calendar, on repeat every single day. Why? Because if it's there, it's going to happen. And it's a reminder. Even on on a day that I don't go up, that's my workout time. I don't even know what to do with myself. But this is something that comes with time. And it only came to me because I stayed consistent. And it only came to a lot of our members who now, they used to hate the gym. And now they don't know what to do with themselves when they go to the gym. That level of consistency came from showing up even when you didn't feel like it, even when life was busy, even when work was busy, even when somebody was sick. And you need to remind yourself that consistency isn't about doing it all. It's about doing something when things aren't perfect. And I think it's important to have this conversation right now in August because I am 99.9% sure that many of you listening to this podcast right now told yourself in June, whenever the vacation was booked, I'm going to describe here what I've been hearing all the time, and I know that it's going to resonate with some people. In January, you told yourself that this summer was going to be different. And then June came, and then you put a swimming suit on, and you're like, holy shit, it ain't the way that I want it to be. But you know what? I'm going to go on my vacation. I'm going to be uncomfortable, and I'm going to get back on it. August, September, that's when I'm going to get back on it. Okay, boo, it's August. What you doing? Waiting for it to be October so you can then tell yourself that you're going to start in January? How are you going to stop this cycle? So August is the perfect time to get things back on track. So much can be accomplished between now and the end of the year. So much. But the only way that you're going to be able to have a different holiday season experience, that you're going to be able to take the photos that you want to take, that you're going to be able to fit, in the nice jeans that you have for fall, is by starting now. We need to stop waiting for life to slow down. Because the reality is the moment that life slows down, then there is the too much time problem, which I see also all the time with some, like with women. They have too much time and then they procrastinate. They're like, oh, I have all day. I have all day. I truly believe, I wholeheartedly believe that being busy is one of the biggest secret weapons for consistency. And the reason for that is because, for example, if I only have that slot in the morning to work out, that is the only gap of time that I have, I know that if I don't do that, it's not going to happen. So you best believe that I'm going to get my ass there and get it done because there is no other time. So many times we use busyness, like the action of being busy, as a hindrance to staying consistent, but we actually see a lot different with the women that we work with is that whenever there is a lot of standstill and not a lot going on, that's when we need to become even more intentional with holding them accountable. Because they think they have all this time and they keep, I'll get my workout done later, I'll do this later, and later never comes. So let's change the narrative on, I'm busy, that's why I can be consistent, and be like, I am busy. And that's why I can be consistent, because if it's on my schedule, it's going to happen. But you're only going to be able to stay consistent if you have something that works for your life. If you keep on trying to pull plans from when you did a contest prep or for when you were in Weight Watchers or for when you did some kind of bullshit that required you to eat lettuce and ice cubes and train for 7 hours a day, in this season of life right now, I hate to break it to you, you are going to keep on failing. And it's not because you suck, it's because your plan sucks. And you're going to keep on trying to outwork your bad plan by adding more. I just need more cardio, just need to work out more, just need to add that boot camp, just I need to, starve myself a little bit more, just need to cut the carbs. When does it stop? Because if your problem is being busy, how is it that adding more is going to solve the problem with your consistency? I can be consistent because I'm busy, but you know what? Let me add another day of boot camp and let me add, more restriction to my nutrition that makes me feel like a monumental bitch and like shit. Yeah, that is going to be the solution to all the problems. Do you see what I'm saying? How does that make sense? So make sure that you have an honest conversation with yourself. Does this plan truly fit my life right now? Can I stay consistent with it? Or am I just trying to outwork a shady plan? And like I said before, I want to be very honest and transparent. Change requires change. So you can't expect, to be partying like a rock star and, eating restaurants 7 days a week and showing up to train whenever you feel like it and get a plan like, okay, all problems solved. No, it requires action. But the first step is to recognize that what you're doing right now is not working. It's not that you suck. It's not that you're lazy. It's not that you're undisciplined. It's just that the plan does not work for the season of life that you're in. And there is nothing wrong with that. Cool? So this is a very important conversation that needs to be had right now while you're struggling with consistency. And we need to change the narrative and look at lack of consistency, not as the cause, but as a symptom. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next week. Adios.
Thank you so much for tuning in this week. But let me ask you, what was your aha moment in today's episode? I would love to know. You can leave me a comment at the link in the show description. You can also follow me on social media, Instagram. Links are down below as well. And let me know what topics you want to hear more about or who I should have on the show. This is it for today, guys. I'll see you back next week for another episode of the Unfiltered Fit Life podcast.